afternoon, everyone. Welcome back. I hope lunch treated you well. You're all good, energized, and lunch was good? All righty. All right, nice. So we are going to continue into the second half of today's segment. But before we do, just a quick reminder about our Christmas fire safety promotion, the smoke alarm and extinguisher in every home. As I mentioned earlier, at the end of it, we will be doing some questions, so you could be the lucky winner of an extinguisher and or maybe a fire alarm smoke heat detector. So we would see how that goes. So to continue now in the presentation, our next presenter would be Mr. Fidel Taylor of Century Insurance. Mr. Taylor is a proud Vincentian dedicated to faith, family, and community service. He serves as senior pastor of the Raylan Hill Church of the Nazarene and has contributed to national development through roles with SVG Youth for Christ, the National Cultural Foundation, and the National Commission on Crime Prevention. With over 45 years of experience in the business sector, Mr. Taylor has spent the last 15 years as General Manager of Century Insurance, one of the nation's leading motor vehicle insurers. His training and expertise in general and motor insurance have made him a strong advocate for road safety and responsible driving. Mr. Taylor brings a unique blend of leadership, community engagement, and professional insight to today's seminar as he continues to champion safer roads across St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Jaric, St. Vincent is very grateful to always have Mr. Taylor and Century support with every and anything that we do regarding to safety. So let's now invite Mr. Fidel Taylor.
Thank you, Keisha. Good afternoon, everybody. Let me come down a little closer to you. I thank you again, Eric and Jaric, for the opportunity to be a part of this very important exercise. I want to recognize Metro Saint in the house, St. Hill, and all of these stakeholders, because you're a stakeholder. You are here because you have an interest in road safety. 11 years ago, I journeyed to Trinidad to attend a road safety conference, and I encountered Jaric, Mr. Eric Kipps. I was so blown away with the conference that I invited him to establish his company in St. Vincent because I saw the need. Fast forward 11 years later, Jaric is championing the cause for road safety in St. Vincent. Could you just put your hands together and show your appreciation? When they came, it wasn't easy. They had a lot of pushbacks. But there are some companies that jump on board right away. We launched our first road safety conference, and they've been doing this for 11 years now. And I'm really grateful for this move and to see how it has mushroomed, to see so many companies who are now on board to really benefit from road safety. Today I want to provoke you a bit because I'm very passionate about road safety. You know, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, we are an emerging nation. We are coming from a place where we once had in 2001, just over 7,000 vehicles. You heard the officer said today we have close to 40,000 vehicles. I remember the days when we used to have big trucks coming in from Georgetown, long trucks. They will carry animals, sugar, rice, flour, passengers, everybody mix up. If you want to come to town, you catch that bus 5 o'clock in the morning. Some of you ain't know anything about that. And if you want to go home, you catch it 1 o'clock. Right, Colleen? Today, that has changed. We have buses moving like clockwork. It means that our roads are more crowded. from where I sit, and the insurance companies here can, make their input on this. We are experiencing 30 accidents a month. And in any accident, any claim, you can have multiple claims. So one crash, you can have a lot of people injured, and every person who is dead or injured is a case by itself. That accident some years ago with the bus that went down in Sandy Bay, that was insured with us. 5 persons died, 9 were seriously injured. We still paying the claims because you have to adjudicate. You can't pay the money to anybody. A lot of people come in, pay me. One lady came and said, I raised this child from a baby. I'm going somewhere with this. The mother never raised him. The mother had nothing to do. Pay me. He said, Miss, you got to go and get a lawyer, and they will tell us who to pay. That's why sometimes we take long to pay. It's not that we don't want to pay. Because if we pay the wrong person, we have to pay the right person when they turn up. That is how it goes. So, the lawyer told her, according to the law, even if you raise the boy from a baby, you can't get nothing. And the mother who ain't raised the child, she getting everything. Donkey say the wall na level. Anyway, today I want to stimulate your interest in what I will consider a strategy for road safety in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. This is my thoughts on paper. And I'm going to move as quickly as possible because we lost a lot of time this morning. All right? So, the strategic frame is to have a safe system approach tailored to SVG. Remember that we have more vehicles on the road now. We have larger vehicles. We are a mountainous country. We are riding on mountains and hills, unlike flat countries. Sometimes you don't even know it. You don't even remember that you're on a hill. And I've been there, done that. I've been a van salesman for years, moving to and fro, from Chateaubriand to Sandy Bay. I never used to go over too fancy. Road too bad. So I know what I'm talking about. And on these mountains, there are cliffs without any barriers. Listen, people don't go over there every day, but when you go over there, sometimes you're not coming back. That's it. And these are some of the problems we have to address. And I'm hoping that this seminar will seek to develop a serious strategic road safety plan for this country. Because we now have an international airport, tourists are coming, more hotels are being built, and we have to get our act together with regards to road safety. There must be order in the nation. So, we must have human limits in the plan. This is my thinking. It must be designed for mistakes and prevent death and serious injury, even when errors occur. And errors will occur on the challenging terrain. It must be a shared responsibility. The government alone cannot do this. It must be a shared responsibility with all stakeholders. Let me get out the way so you can see. So you must have government, police, insurers, churches, schools, the transport operators and drivers, because they all carry a vital piece of the solution. We all have a role to play. Will you agree with me with that? Everybody can make a contribution. The layers of protection in this plan is safer roads, appropriate speed. I feel we're driving too fast. We watch TV and we see cars flying on highways. They can because they are built for that as highway. But we want to do that on winding roads. And you go around a corner too fast, and you pick up some oil or whatever, that's it for you. So we have to slow down. We must have safer vehicles. We must have informed road users and improve post-crash care working together. A lot of this stuff came out already. So I think we can do a plan. I heard it from the police. I heard it from the doctor. Let's move on. Priority pillars and high impact action. You must put an infrastructure and speed management system in place. Target speed calming on high risk roads or segments. Action, install speed tables, raise crosswalks near schools and churches, because schools and churches attract a lot of people. Do you agree with that? Speed tables and raised crosswalks is basically, let's take this speed table. It's a hump in the road. Let's say sleeping police, but our one is a little too high. But what I'm talking about, it's a nice gentle hump. But you will have signs to say that, hey, it's coming up. So you were forced to slow down because you're entering a school zone, or you're entering an area with a lot of people. Raised crosswalks is a raised pedestrian crossing, like the sleeping policeman. So you're walking on like a sleeping policeman. So people know that is there, they ain't going to fly through. I see people come through where I live in Leyu. Anybody know Leyu? People fly through Leyu. I've seen over the years that I've been there, a lot of people got killed and badly wounded because drivers just feel they could gun it. These are things we have to address, especially when you have tourists coming into your country. They don't make joke. They are going to sue. And I'm telling you, it's going to be costly for us, and it's going to be bad publicity for us. You know, time wouldn't permit me to go into the details of all of that. We can have solar beacons at peak hours. Relocate bus stops away from blind corners to prevent pedestrians where exposure is of the highest. Intersection discipline without traffic lights. Now, what I'm introducing here is low cost, but very effective. You don't have to spend a lot of money. You know, we've been working with the police, with doing things, giving signs, and we're going to do more. But we have to really do it right. We can't be nitpicking, just, we want to do that. What about this? No, we have to have a serious plan. And to do the plan, we have to get down and do a study and document the way forward. So there's a lot of stuff we can do. So install mini roundabouts at chaotic junctions. There are some places like in Camden Park, when you're coming out, people flying in and out there like they're crazy. Maybe we can put a mini roundabout there. And other places like that. You know, gateways, signature when you enter in towns, and truck lanes. Here we talk about issues with trucks. From where I sit at my office in the corner there, I see accidents very often. With trucks, the police calling the truck is opening out to come around. Police tell the traffic stop on the inner lane. The trucks start coming around, but the cars decide to fly up and they collide in with the trucks. Am I right, officer? And I have the cameras because we're recording the whole intersection. So I'm studying it. We have work to do. So let's move on. We have to incorporate the legislative framework, enforcement and legislative reform, legalize roadside breath testing, define DUIs limits, empower fixed penalties for speeding and seatbelt violation, mandate helmets for all motorcyclists, and vehicle restraint for children. Some people do this, but it must be mandatory. We do not have legislation to empower the police to use breathalyzers. We have written to the attorney generals in the past without response from the Insurance Association to pass the legislation to give the police the power to do this. And they're sticking. We've asked for legislation for them to use speed testers. And they're sticking. The police, I often hear them crying when they're on radio talking. They can't. The only way you can really know if somebody was under the influence is if you carry them to hospital and draw blood. And they can't do that. They get a lawsuit. So the legislative framework have to come in place. Let's move forward. Enable speed enforcement with portable speed guns. I just touched on that. Average speed pilot on defined corridors, graduated penalties and license points, mandatory driver education after serious offenses. What we're trying to do is to work with drivers who we see having problems, and we try to send them to Jaric to get defensive drivers training. We are working with the van drivers. I heard a lot of talk about van drivers being here this morning, and we have to help them. But we have to also have legislation to regulate them. And there's a lot to talk about with that. But this is just to get you thinking as to where we can go. Visible target enforcement boss. Launch 8 to 12 high visibility enforcement weeks per year. Focus on speed, seat belts, helmet, and DUI at predictable hotspots at times. Weekend nights, paydays and holidays. That's when people out and about. I've seen an accident not too long ago where a mother gave her kid her big SUV, 17, 18 years old, 5 of them in the vehicle, going home 4 a.m, drunk, high, whatever, and ran under a 35-seater bus. Lift the bus in the air, put the driver and all of themselves in the hospital. Thank God nobody died. We pay the claim. But that shouldn't happen. So we had to now go and introduce a listed drivers policy. And people are mad with us. And we found out that there are people who are owning 4, 5, 6 vehicles, put them in private and renting them. But they're paying a private premium. This is madness. If the rental premium is higher because the risk is higher, because there's all kind of driver using it. But people beating the system or trying to beat the system. So we had to put the listed drivers policy in place. If you turn off the lights, it will be better. Or this section, right. All right, let's move on. Education, culture change, and community leadership. Work with faith and school partnership. Work with churches and schools at assemblies to promote safe driving, like slow down, save lives. You do those initiatives to promote road safety messages. Professional drivers program, introduce annual certification program in defensive driving for all the stakeholders, taxi, minibus, you name it, delivery and construction drivers and others. Insurers offer premium discounts for certified fleet and individuals and so on. You can have public campaigns with simple behaviors. Focus on sending clear messages. Slow on curves, seat belt every time, no drinking and driving, helmet every ride, eyes up, phone down. We talk a lot about that this morning. The police went in extensively on some of these things. We can deliver our messages through radio, through social media, through television, through posters. Then we move on to insurance and economic incentives. You can have risk-based premiums, discount for telematics or dash cam, and defensive driving completion for zero claims history, and fleet safety policies. Shift behavior using price signals without new taxes. Telematics is a new thing. We can, in the vehicles that we have today, we can go to the dashboard and it can tell you how fast you're driving, and your driving rate, how much gas you're using. The black box, Eric and I were speaking, can tell us a lot about our behavior, with the vehicles. It can tell us how much you brake in. But what we can do is ask people to volunteer to sign up, to provide the history. And if you're a good driver, we will take the data at the time when you sign up, and then we'll monitor you 6 months later. And if you're performing well, if we're seeing a reduction in speed, you get discounts for that. Because this is about, hello? Yeah. These are things we have to do. You have to give people something back. So if people sign up for these things and we come and we test the car 6 months later and we see, you're wearing your seat belt, because the car will tell us these things, talk to us now. Let's move on. So, for example, we already introduced defensive driving in our company. If you do the course, bring back the certificate, we give you a special discount. We all give no claims discount. So if you have no claims, you get good discounts. But if you start getting into accidents, you lose your discounts. Right, Pops? Oh, let her back me in. Everybody watching me there. And this is an election year. And somebody said I look like him the other day. You know what I'm talking about, right? I have to shave off my beards because I ain't taking no chances. Where were we? Fleet safety. Require minibus operators to adopt drivers rotation. I think drivers drive too long. They want to drive from 6 to 6 or into the night. People need to take a break from behind the wheels, because not only you can get into accident, but it's bad for your health. Have maintenance log and speed limiters. Publish complaint operators to create market incentive. Data sharing. Insurers and police can co-develop top 20 risk sites lists. Insurers share information about high-risk drivers with multiple claims and insurance fraud. The Insurance Association has just developed a database where we all will link and share information on our claims history. So we will be able to identify people who are sending in multiple claims and jumping from company to company. And one of the things that is on the rise in St. Vincent is insurance fraud. That's a discussion for another day. Quick wins. First 90 to 180 days. Immediate action that save lives. You notice this thing is all about saving lives? It's not about saving houses. We could build back houses. We can build back buildings, right? But you cannot bring back a life. Only Jesus Christ can do that. Nobody can say amen? Identify top 50 high-risk curves as map and mark. Install reflective chevrons, repaint edges lines, and place slow and advisory speed signs at critical locations. You know, reflective chevrons, you know what they are. They're colorful signs you stick on ambulance and fire trucks and police cars and special places. Cheap, but very effective. School church safety package, install raised crossings at 10 highest risk sites with solar beacons. And solar, you know how to put electricity. It's a light that blinks with a sign below to tell you, send a message to you. These are things that we can invest in and make our country safer, make our roads safer. Relocate bus stops from blind bends to reduce pedestrian exposure. Launch a 4-weekend DUI and speed testing initiative with portable breath testing at night and speed checks at known hotspot. Publish results to demonstrate commitment. I think I did that already. Culture Spark. Launch a national pledge month led by pastors and principals on radio and social media, highlighting things like slow and curves, messages across all communities, basically to promote road safety. Insurance incentives, as I said before, introduce telematics and dashcam discounts, offer defensive driving courses, rebate, and publicize fleet compliance badges to reward safe operators. Medium-term moves, building sustainable change over 6 to 24 months. Legislation, phase 1 and 2, pass DUI, seatbelt, helmet, child restraint, and fixed penalty laws. Empower speed enforcement and license point system. Professional driver certification. Annual training and audits for minibus and taxi fleets tied to route licensing and insurance discount. And this can be for companies too that have fleets. Engineering program, install guardrails, because I said earlier on we have a lot of drop-offs with no barrication, so we need to pay attention to that and install more guardrails and widen shoulders at, for example, the top 20 drop-off, build mini roundabouts at 5 chaotic junction and speed tables at 25 village and towns entrance. These are just things to provoke you, to get us thinking as to what we can do. You know, we can do this, we can do more, we can do less, but we have to do something. Professional, I think I did that already. Funding and partnership. Government, allocate dedicated road safety line item, integrate safety works into routine maintenance, including paint, chevrons, signage, and vegetation clearing. I have a problem with the grass. Sometimes I'm coming out of my church gap in Ryland to go down to Pembroke, and there's a little tree, a small tree, pops. And listen, that thing just blocked my whole line of sight. And there was a time I'm coming out, and a vehicle was coming, and the thing blocked the vehicle. Fortunately, I was just inching out, you know. Same time the thing come up on me, whoop! I had to mash the brakes. Simple things like that. That's cause serious accidents. Community and faith groups. This is happening, but we can capitalize on this to get more out of it. Volunteer crews for vegetarian, vegetarian. Vegetation clearing, signage upkeep, and first responder training days. One of the things that came out of our discussion today, I see an interesting discussion between the medical profession and the police profession, where the police is saying that they are trained to save lives. The doctor is saying, don't touch them. That's an interesting discussion. I'm glad it happened, because we see the need for training. The police have to be trained, because we do not have first responders here. That's a separate unit from the police and from the ambulance services, although they provide it. So these are things we need to pay attention to. Because if you ain't supposed to touch them and you can get sued for kill, as Eric said, you pull out the man when you ain't supposed to pull him out, you can kill him. And you thinking, well, you saving because you think the vehicle gonna blow up. But as Eric said, the vehicle don't blow up so. That's only the movies. Leave him there. And let the people who know what they're doing come. Some mean ain't, but we have to retrain ourselves. We have to unlearn some things, and we have to relearn some new things, or learn some new things, and even relearn things that we would have forgotten. Development partners seek support for guardrails, speed management pilots, and data system. Emphasize cost effectiveness, climate resilient solution suited to the island context. Because we are island. We're almost there. Measurable targets and metrics. Clear goals drives accountability and progress. If you don't have goals, you're spinning top in mud. We have to set goals. Things like this can happen. Reduce fatalities and serious injuries by 30%. Reduce speeds in hotspots by 20%. Reduction in 85th percentile speeds on untreated curves within 6 months. What is that? 85th percentile speed. It means the speed at which 85% of the drivers on the road drive. I had to learn that. You pay attention to that. It's like a business, 80-20. 80% of your sales come from 20% of your goods. And 20% of your sales come from 80% of your goods. So you could be overstocking. So we have to pay attention to the stats. Very important. We can also we can increase seat belts and helmet use by 90%. Put a target on that and push it. Organize a campaign to educate people. And I remember years ago, I don't know if all remember Gold Teeth. Everybody forget Gold Teeth? Can't forget Gold Teeth. He gave me my first case. I was going down Bay Street, Colleen. We had stoplights then, traffic lights. And I see the light blinking amber. Road clear, nobody. And I went through. Next thing I see, Gold Teeth come out from a post. He was hiding behind a post. Stopped me, say, man, you break a red light. I couldn't argue. End up in front of the court. He was my good friend. I remember him one time look into my car and he did me this. Buckle up. We need to encourage our police officers to do things like that. And they do it. But we need to emphasize on these things because they save lives. It's all about saving lives, not about money. 50% reduction in DUI prevalence. Let's move on because we have to have the workshop. This is my last slide. So let's summarize. So when we develop our plan, we can develop a commitment with all the stakeholders. Like I said earlier, it's not a job for the government alone. This commitment to action plan, the problem, what's the problem? Winding roads combined with weak enforcement equal rising fatalities and escalating costs for families, communities, and the economy. When somebody gets seriously injured or dies, it's a brain drain, it's a loss on our society. It can be somebody child, somebody father, somebody mother. It can be a professional that we lose in some field. And that's the problem. What works here? We don't have a lot of money, so we can't build highways like Japan and China and you name it. But we could start small. Low-cost engineering solutions and visible, targeted enforcement tailored to SVG, unique terrain and resources. Legislative essentials, DUI testing, speed enforcement, seat belt, helmet, child restraint, that's car seat, to make sure what the officer talked about earlier, the children not bouncing up and down. And I remember years ago, I had a call. I was in my office. Somebody called me and said, somebody just rolled back on them up Tongue Hill. So I called, I think it was Terran, claims manager. I said, let's go up Tongue Hill. So we run up Tongue Hill. So the lady said she was going up and the children were fighting in the back seat. So she mashed brakes to stop to talk to them, and the vehicle rolled back, mash up somebody's vehicle. The big joke is, I said, well, okay, how insurance go fix it? But he insured me, right? So I said, miss, who's your insurance? She said, Century. Both of them insured me. Boy, I hold my head and I go on the wall and I sit down. I say, Lord, what trouble and botheration here today. I have to settle two of them. So let's wrap it up. Community engine. Like I said, it's an all-inclusive plan. The churches, the schools, pastors, principal, teachers, must lead pledges, youth ambassadors, inspired peers, and schools and church crossings become safer through collective action. Promised results: 30% fewer deaths in 3 years, slower speeds at curves in 6 months, a culture shift that values every life on our roads. Together we can transform road safety in St. Vincent and the Grenadines through shared responsibility, evidence-based intervention, and unwavering commitment. We will protect our people, strengthen our communities, and build a safer future for generations to come. I thank you. Now, I know we are going into a workshop, so this should tie in nicely to what we are going to discuss. So I will get out of the way. I'm not going to open the floor for questions, because I think you get the message. All right? Questions can come in the workshop, and I will be happy to answer. So once again, thank you. Over to Keisha.
Thank you, Mr. Taylor. Thank you for highlighting the importance of promoting road safety and safer vehicles, safer roads for all. Now, to share our company's ongoing commitment to road safety and today's mission, please join me in welcoming Mr. Eric Kipps, Director of Jaric St. Vincent. Mr. Eric Kipps is a seasoned road safety and occupational safety professional with over 27 years of specialized experience supporting governments, transport agencies, and private sector fleets across the Caribbean. His work focuses on driver safety training, fleet risk management, emergency response systems, and strengthening national road safety capacity. He has presented at multiple international conferences, sharing insights on data-driven interventions, behavior-based driver training, and the modern safety system integration. Eric is also developer of the National Safety Council's Defensive Driving Course Level Systems Review used throughout the region to enhance defensive driving competencies. As the director of the Jaric Group of Companies, he oversees operations in safety training, industrial hygiene, environmental health, and emergency management, helping organizations reduce collisions and improve safety culture. Eric's background includes over 31 years of military leadership and crisis management experience. He is currently pursuing his PhD in road safety and accident prevention. Committed to continuous improvement, Eric Kipps remains one of the Caribbean's strongest advocates for road safety and improved fleet safety standards. Welcome, Mr. Eric Kipps.
All right, good evening, everybody. Okay, so let's get our workshop on the way. All right, thanks, Keisha. All right, in preparing for today, I found a magazine, right? As Fidel would have said, a little over 11 years ago, Fidel came to one of our conferences in Trinidad at the, was that Tobago? We did it in Tobago. At the Hilton Grand. And, after some discussion with him, we came to St. Vincent. Now, let's cut that short, right? And one of the key things that happened on that first visit was a ride in Topper. Right? Yeah, everybody laughing, right? Yeah. Well, you're laughing, but it traumatized me, right? It traumatized me. That experience, right, was so fundamental in my development that it prompted me to conduct some research on transport systems in the Caribbean. All right? Coming out of that, I published a paper which, was published in this magazine and several others, and I did presentations in Suriname, Guyana, and Jamaica at the time. Coming out of that was this image. All right? So this is a cross between Topper, a ZR from Barbados, and this bus here from Guyana. All right? So I asked the graphic guy to put all three of them together, and I came up with this image. All right? The monster bus. The monster bus. Because that is what it is. The monster bus. So I did this research on the minibus culture in the Caribbean. And then, based on the information that I collected, I ranked them. Where do you think St. Vincent fell? What do you think? Let's look at from we started off at 1 being the worst, and we came down, to the best, at 10. Wait, number 2? Nah. No, it was actually good, It was actually 4. It's actually number 4, Haiti was number 1, all right? If you guys been to Haiti and travel in one of those buses, you would understand why. Jamaica was actually number 2. Anybody who rode in one of those robots, they call them robots, right, in Jamaica. And they also have a system they call the tap-tap. I actually saw a tap-tap in St. Vincent once. Well, only once. A tap-tap is a truck, right, with a tarpaulin with seats. Yeah, and it gets its name from how you stop it. So when you want to stop, you lean out and you tap the sides, right? So they call it a tap-tap. And then, of course, yeah. But then, that's not a problem, right? We're going to leave that here, and let's get to what we're looking at. Now, we're in World Safety Week internationally, all right? So in this week and in this month, we look at road safety around the world. Now, when I just took this out of that report that I did, and I want to read this to you, right? This was a guy in Jamaica in 2014, Garfield Higgins, right? He said, scores of Jamaicans were emotionally, socially, and physically incapacitated by the minibus system. He said, essentially, the transportation system created a necessity for hundreds of people to take a bath for one reason or the other after taking a bus ride. When I saw it, I understood, because I remembered my ride. Yeah, and I remember coming out, by the gas station there in Arnersville and sitting on the sidewalk. Yeah, and that's trying to figure out what just happened over the last minute and a half. That's the time it took from the hotel to around there. Yeah. Yeah. So, let's look at this. Now, we're looking at road safety. The United Nations in 2010 they recognized the need to do something about road traffic crashes and the resulting fatalities. So what they did, they looked at their research, and their research showed that we had these 5 things that we can look at that will reduce road traffic crashes, reduce the fatalities associated with these crashes. These 5 things looked at, and they put them in these pillars. Pillar 1, road safety management. Manage road safety, all right, as a science. Pillar 2, safer vehicles. And this one resounded around the region. Why? Because we had an issue, or we have an issue with safe vehicles, all right? In fact, the mere reason, well, it's not a reason, the fact that we import vehicles, yeah, and most times the vehicles that we import are 8 years old, 10 years old, sometimes 10 years old, right? We import old vehicles. We start there. We import vehicles that are already at the end of their life cycle. In Japan, a 3-year-old vehicle is an old vehicle. And that is why you get them looking like that. So they come off the boat looking almost new, right? So, pillar 2, safer vehicles. Pillar 3, safe road users. In Trinidad, we have a culture called the bounce-me-nah culture. You cross the road like that? Yeah, cross the road there, bounce-me-nah. Yeah, so they have the bounce-me-nah culture. Pillar 4 looked at post-crash response. Now, when the doctor was speaking, she was looking at, the injuries that you sustain, all right, from a crash. Yeah, and she went into the technical part of the thing. Now, what they looked at is the fact that if you can treat the injured at the scene of the crash, then it gives them a better chance of survival at the hospital.